I just watched a Polyglot gathering talk and I really enjoyed it. It was about the history of language learning. I think this is a very interesting topic because it helps us see where do we come from, and then we can just look into the future and see what possibilities will open up for us. What do you think about how people used to learn languages and how they are learned today and how they will be learned maybe in 10, 20, 30 years? What do you think? Thanks a lot to my patrons and my Ko-Fi supporters. If you're ready, let's get started. I am going to leave that Polyglot gathering talk down below. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. And I'm not going to deep dive into it too much because you can go watch it. I'm just going to mention briefly the ways that people used to learn languages before. So basically, it used to be a lot of translation and about a lot of learning by heart. I imagine it the way we nowadays still learn Latin, where it's like no context, just text, no speaking, no communication. I mean, this is probably an overgeneralization. Of course, people would acquire language like we do today in day-to-day situations, but when they were being taught language, the predominant way to do it was with translation, and it was more about grammar and theory than really about communication. So that was what kind of was practiced. And like I said, I imagine it like learning Latin back then. In the video I recommend, they also talk about the origin of the Berlitz language schools, which date back to the 19th century, and how they were actually quite revolutionizing for language learning, though at the time they weren't taken as seriously because of lack of credentials. Like, it wasn't a professor who created them, it was just someone who, with their intuition, they were like, there's something wrong with the way we're learning languages, it's not actually working. But yeah, you can see more on that video. And then also there was this phase where the way to learn languages was more structured. So for instance, you would learn sentences and just keep switching the words. So you would say something like, I would like to have a coffee. I would like to have a bottle of water. I would like to have a cup of wine. So you would kind of repeat these sort of structures. I mean, I think it was better because they were starting to at least talk and not just translate. So I think it was like a move in the right direction. But I think still it has now improved because we're focused on communication. We're not focused on this grammar perfection. We're focused on tasks like, what can I communicate through language? So let's say you're taking a lesson and it's about, I want to order at a cafe, right? Or I want to take a job interview. And it's not about being perfect. You can be really good at communicating and still make mistakes and still not have a perfect pronunciation. But the focus is put on communicating, being able to bring this message across and just communicate basically. What we haven't talked about and what wasn't that much discussed in that talk was the power of internet. I think the internet has obviously revolutionized language learning. I remember as a 15-year-old looking up the lyrics of my favorite songs and translating them. So I was kind of, like the old age translating, but it wasn't something that was meaningful to me. It was something I had feelings about and I felt connected to. So I think it really helped me learn languages, as well as watching movies. Basically, I was watching movies, series, and translating songs. That's how I learned English. And then I started, when I was traveling, I would start to speak. But yeah, so basically, that is what personally helped me. And I think that internet played a big role in how I was able to learn languages, because I'm not that type of, reader learner. I think for some people, learning while reading is amazing, and hey, if it's you, go for it. But for me, the internet with, audiovisual material, it really, really helped me. What about the future? What does the future hold? The AI is coming, and I think it's going to be exciting. I know whenever there's something new, people tend to be afraid. And I mean, there might be risks, of course. And I've seen some AI programs where, you know, they just chat with you. And I feel that it will for sure get better, but it's still a bit artificial. Like it, especially, you know, you notice it's not a real person and it's not perfect language, if I may say so. So I think it's good because it's someone you can really talk to 24/7. They don't get tired, etc. But it just, you know, it has maybe this issue as of now that the language feels artificial and it doesn't feel like something a native would say sometimes. But as we were talking about in another video, you know, there are tools like DeepL. Their translation capacity is amazing. They are really good. So I guess the AI will keep getting better. And now we get to the sponsor of this video, which is Kwizie, kiwzie.ai. You know, I'm a bit of an old-fashioned person when it comes to technology, so I'm a bit skeptical when I receive such emails, to be honest. And I said, well, I'm just gonna test it, you know, I'm just going to test it and see how it works. So what Kwizie does, basically, you can create quizzes out of videos. It takes like up to 5 minutes, but when I was testing it with my 3 videos down below, it took like a couple of minutes maybe. And what I really find incredible is Kwizie creates basically a summary of the chapters. So you can read the summary of the chapter maybe you didn't understand so well, and then you can be like, these 3-4 chapters I really want to make a quiz about. And then Kwizie generates this quiz, and you can also edit it. So if you feel like, I don't know, I would like to change this question, or I would like to add another question, then it generates another question about that specific chapter. And what's really neat, I think, for Polyglot is they have several languages. I'm gonna leave them here, but because it's a Finnish company, they have Finnish. They also have Swedish, they also have Chinese, Spanish, English. They have lots of languages, so you can check it out. And you can also take the tests in different languages. So if you're like watching a Spanish video, you can make the test in Spanish or in English or in another language about the Spanish video. So thanks a lot for Kwizie for being my sponsor today. If you want to try it out, you can try it out for free. So check out the link down below and see if maybe it's for you. I was blown away on how fast it was possible to create such quizzes. I think like it's a game changer, specifically for teachers, but also for learners who like to see if they really understood the video they just watched. So yeah, because sometimes it's not so clear. When people think about what the future holds for language learning, they're sometimes afraid. I also have this dystopian image of, you know, people implanting chips on their heads and learning a language like that. And even though if such a thing was to happen, I feel like for me the joy is not reaching the goal. The joy is walking the path towards the goal. And so, of course, yeah, if you could implant a chip, so why would you go to school? So you can learn any topic just by implanting a chip on your head. And maybe this is gonna happen someday, and maybe we will experience that. But I feel like learning is a process, and it makes you feel good in the moment just because you're making it. If someone magically does it for you, I think it might lose a bit of its charm. But even if such chips exist in the future, I would just prefer to keep learning as I do now. And also one topic I think that's interesting is virtual reality. So what I really had already noticed is with, for instance, language schools online, you can learn from anywhere. That's a huge advantage that didn't exist before. And I think with virtual reality, you just might feel like you're somewhere else. Let's say you want to travel somewhere to talk to the people there. Then you could just put on your VR and just go there virtually. Like I said, I'm a bit of a traditional when it comes to technology, so I tend to be skeptical at the beginning. I'm trying to be more open-minded about that, but I feel like it would take a while for me to go down that path. I think I would just wait till everyone has done it. Like it was the same with the smartphones. It took me a while to buy my own smartphone because I felt like I don't need that. And yeah, so we will see. What do you think about it? How do you feel about how languages used to be taught, how they're being taught now, and the possibilities we have in the future. I would love to know how you feel about it. And yeah, thanks a lot to my patrons, to my Ko-Fi supporters. Thanks to you for watching this video till the end. And if you will, why not just leave a like, a comment, and if you haven't yet, why not subscribe? This helps me continue with this channel. So I hope to see you very soon and have a nice day. Bye bye.